investigating. Get like a power stance, maybe. Oh, that's not bad. Alright guys, so here we go back at it. In today's video, the goal is to get the spare diff apart and get it ready to be welded up so that we can go to drift school in about 2 weeks. Now, I don't know if this is everyone's experience with getting ready for a drift event, but it seems like you have all this time. It's like, oh, I got 2 months or a month or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, it's like 2 weeks away and I'm nowhere near ready. So we have to get this done, and the crappy thing about this hull deck system is this needs to be complete with the ECU controller, or I can't just weld this up and throw it back in the car, because if I do that, I will have a car that does not move. So I also am waiting on the ECU controller and new hull deck fluid, stuff like that, because that's not something you can get from a normal parts store. So in the next week or so, you're gonna see probably a couple more videos of me working on the Audi TT. We have some unrelated but related stuff to do with the trailer, stuff like that. Just, it's going to be a wild week getting stuff ready to go here. So I'm going to flip you around and we are going to talk about our special service tools that we created and or used to get this thing apart and figure out what was so bad inside. Now this shouldn't take a ton of force because it's being pressed evenly here. Do I know exactly what we're doing? No. It's moving. And I got the world's smallest crescent wrench. Be easier with the socket, but this was right here. It is coming off. Ooh, it's coming off nice. And I have a feeling we're going to lose a lot of hull deck fluid. I didn't drain it, which was probably a bad decision. But it's coming. Oh, nice and easy. Fluid's a little glittery. Not. I was kind of expecting worse, to be honest. So it appears to me that we can drain the differential fluid out of here. There might be an actual lower drain plug somewhere. This, I don't know, this might be the fill plug. That's kind of what it looks like. I'm not real sure, but I think what I'm going to do is just undo this one and then scoot it to the edge of the table here and get that gear oil out of there. I lied, I found the actual drain plug right there, but now it's tipped the wrong way. So we're going to try to get this fluid out and then we'll explain what's going on. 17. That is sketchy. Please don't fall. Hey, if it looks stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. Alright guys, we got a glove on. We're going to go exploring really quick. I promise we're going to explain exactly what's going on, but we got the fluid out of there, and by the way, this is why I don't throw anything away. So those are wheel studs that I pounded out of, I believe, a Grand Caravan rear end, and now I got a nice little diff stand to hold this up here. So we survived, but we're not out of the woods yet, I swear, and this had junk in it before. It is a little glittery, and listen, I think I hear something solid in there, which is not good. We're gonna go investigating. Oh. What is it? Ooh, that looks like a roller for a bearing. That is not good. And yeah, that looks really bad. So first things first, this is the fluid. If I can stir it up a little. This is what came out of there. And yeah, so when I took this out, I heard a little ping, and where'd it go? Somewhere right here. So let's say somewhere around here. Focus. That is the guy right there. I'll get it focused and set it down. There we go. That little guy was in the little fluid bucket there. So that is a roller out of some bearing. We come over to this side. This is the race inside this cap here that goes on this side of the differential. We press the axle out. And the bearing on this side looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do next is take this side apart. And what I didn't think of is there is that same bearing on this side, but there's also like a carrier bearing of sorts that's like right about here. So I shotgun ordered this one. We don't have this side apart yet, and I'm fingers crossed that that's the right one. We were able to take the drive shaft yoke off with my harmonic balancer puller. So that guy was right here. I just put the nut back on here so I didn't lose it. Should probably get this seal as well. Here's our Haldex unit, and then this is where those clutch packs live. This is our rear end. So I looked through here, and you're not gonna be able to see it, but the differential itself, get that out, seems to look okay. We're gonna know in a minute when we get this out of here. And then you're supposed to have a special service tool to pull these axle stubs out. And you can see right there, I just took these really thick washers and I pressed in a little brake line fitting. And then I'm just kind of working it out with this. So I'm gonna set you up, get this side off, we'll buzz this off, and then hopefully everything looks okay in there. Again, there's that roller unfocused, but it is chewed up, guys. So hopefully my guess was right and we ordered the right bearing. Let's get this off. I think this whole thing has to come off. Let's rip it off. So if you can see, you know, we just pulled these bolts out. Now to press this cover off, you just put a bolt here, and there's another one down here. These will thread right in there. And you kind of use this to press this guy off, like that. Okay, so my little pushers got a little bit too pushed and they're not going to work anymore. So hopefully these crescent wrenches work. Lifetime warranty, not lifetime warranty, both made in Spain, even though this one's snap-on. Yeah, let's see what happens. Stubby guy on that side, just like me. Bottom out a can of tuna though. So I know the European cars get a bad rap for not being very serviceable, but this one, you can use these bolts, they thread right in these holes, and we should be able to push this cover off, and then the differential should come out with it. We're gonna save our little bearing guy so we can inspect, but I'm sure there's going to be some leftover fluid coming out of here. Let's get that there. There she is. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of yuck in there. It ate that bearing up so bad it looks like anti-seize in there. Good news is the teeth on all the gears look, well, they look okay. Look at all the junk in there. Is that, I think there's another bearing roller there. There is 1, 2, 3. So we have a total of 4 and homemade anti-seize. This is just great. So I was wrong. The bad bearing is right in here where it goes through and meets the differential. So I set the differential down on the ground to get these bolts loose because we're on a folding table, as you can see by the shakiness. That wasn't going to work. So we're going to take this off and see if we can separate the Haldex and clutch assembly from the actual rear end itself. And I think I missed one. Unless it's just really tight. Let's see. This is how this stuff goes. I should have known this. There's a reason that this rear end was replaced. And I mean, it was free, so I can't complain. I just thought it would be easier. Yeah, it's just tight. I just thought it would be easier to go with this one than try to take the one out of the car, get it done, and then put it back in the car. So, and you know how this stuff goes. You try to make your life easier, and most of the time you end up making it harder. So hopefully this is savable. I'm gonna put it back on the ground, try to get this off, and we'll report back. Well, this is not good. There's our bad bearing. That's what was making our differential soup. Well, that did not go as planned, and to be honest with you, that's about how I expected that to go. I have zero faith in my ability to measure the pinion depth correctly and spend all this time getting this thing set up and then to not have it work. So I guess that leads us to plan B. Alright, so AWD TT is in the air behind me, obviously, and I have a new plan. I was thinking, and that's a dangerous thing, but we're going to go under the car, and I'm going to kind of show you what my idea is to make this as easy as possible. Alright, so I'm going to preface this by saying this is obviously the first time I've really messed with one of these cars, but this is the rear differential, right? The differential itself comes out of this assembly from this side here, so my thought is, you know, being that this is a Haldex rear end, as the car sits, the rear end is not engaged, meaning that pinion gear is not actually meshed up with the differential portion of the rear end. So my plan is, I think I can unbolt this axle, drop this down, take these cover bolts off, pull this out, weld it, and then shove it back in. All right, semi-clean bucket. Time to see what this fluid looks like. Fingers crossed. I mean, it couldn't be much worse than the other stuff. Just a little bit of paste on the plug, but I'd call that a win. Ooh, God, that stuff stinks. All right, so there is the rear differential for the car. So you can see that there. I did go ahead and stick the axle shafts in just so we could make sure that these gears are lined up, get you a view in there. It's a little dark, but the plan is, and this isn't the right way to do this at all, we're gonna heat it up with MAP gas because this is cast. Then we have the 110 stick welder with 6013 rod. So is this the right way to do this? No, not at all. The one little nugget, saving grace, hope, and prayer that I have is that we did this exact method on Orville's drift car in a pinch, and it hasn't broken yet. It's been 2 seasons of drifting on that Mustang doing this exact same thing. So the plan is to tack it into place in here, and then I'm going to cut out some plates. We're going to put a plate in on this side, plate in on the other side, see how it goes. One thing I wanted to mention really fast, if you can see right in here, I don't want to touch it because it's hot, but there's like this plastic shield in there. I couldn't find a lot of information about that. My guess is that it's like an oil deflector, but you know, once it's welded up, it really shouldn't matter, I don't think. Well, here goes nothing. The goal right now is just to tack it if I can. Can't see anything in here. Auto darkening my ass. Get like a power stance, maybe. No, that's not bad. Well, I don't think this thing is going anywhere, you guys. I didn't want to film me doing, you know, 2 hours of welding. So basically what I did, I tacked all the gears together, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. Then I tacked the plates in, and then I went in and just filled in between the gears, especially on top and bottom. Tried to fill in here as best I could. The reason I didn't weld this whole assembly to the outer case is because when I put this in the housing, I want to be able to line up the splines on the axles really well. So I think this will be plenty strong enough. Yeah, so again, this was not the right way to do this, and I am not clearly a professional welder, but I do think it'll be strong enough. I'm going to apologize right here in this video and say I'm sorry it's going to be kind of all over the place, because it is. You know, there's a million things going on. We had to get the diff done. And then here's kind of a funny story. So I went to order a Haldex controller, which is basically going to engage that clutch pack based off an app on your phone. And now there's a lot of things you can do with this controller. It was, I believe, $1,000, and the website wigged out. So I was trying to figure out a way I could do this myself, and I'll show you in a little bit here. I did get it to work. I snipped a few wires, hot wired a few things, and then I went ahead and ordered a pulse width modulated little switch so I can control the power going to the rear clutch pack, obviously. And then I also ordered some inline resistors. So we'll get all that done. That is not going to be in this video. That will be in next video. Then we got to figure out how to route that. For right now, what I want to do is get this diff in the car. All right, so we'll bring you under here. The lighting's not going to be good. These are the two wires I used to test my theory, and it did in fact work. I powered it with 9 volts, and I just had it in gear on the lift. Front wheels were spinning, energized the pump motor in the rear end assembly here, and actually got the rear wheels to turn. So then we got to add those few goodies we talked about. For right now, so the differential sits right in here, so we're going to pull these axles off, let them just hang down on this side, pull the stubs out. I can take this cover off right here, and then we can pull the guts out the whole way. I think I am going to go ahead and take this side axle out just so I'm not fighting the clip that's going through into the diff, but I'm going to set you up and just work on getting this apart. All right, so first things first, we got to get these bolts, which I already loosened, out so we can get the axles out of here. I'm going to go get, of course they're triple squares. Got my triple squares right here, but I'm going to go get a Milwaukee ratchet now that they're loose and hopefully buzz them out pretty quick. Better go loosen. One. I had to pick a European car. To be fair, I guess I really didn't pick it. It's just kind of what we had. Oh my God. Hammer. Hammer. This axle should come out and just leave the stub. There. Beautiful. Everything's freaking greasy. Pry bar over here. There. Look at that. Beautiful. One more side. You know, I'll give it to Audi. They made this differential fairly serviceable. I'll show you in a minute. We go to pull this cover off. I'm really hoping that clip on this axle over here, I couldn't get it out because of this big exhaust, so I'm hoping we can overcome the pressure of that clip. Oh, that goes here. All right, so it's going to be much easier to explain this on here. So the reason we wanted to take this side axle out when we're going to sneak the differential out of this side is because if you look, so let me think. This is the side that we're going to pull it out of with this cover on here, and there's a spline section there that you can see, and obviously one on this side for the axles to go into this diff, and we're going to fight those little clips that hold it in place. So I was thinking we would take this side out as well, but that's proving to be a challenge with the exhaust. What I meant by Audi making these serviceable is if you take a look at this cover, so we're actually just going to use this cover, not the one that's in the car, but see these little holes that are right next to the bolt holes? There's one there, and where's the other one? There is one more, I believe. Maybe it's this one. They're to press this cover, or no, it's this one. So they're to press this off. So you just take the factory bolts, thread them into these two holes, and it'll walk this thing out. So we're going to give it a few taps with the hammer and then do that and see if we can pull the old diff out of the car so we can get this welded one in there. The problem is we're going to be fighting the C-clip on this axle, so I might try to get this out of here, and beautifully you can use the cover bolts similar to what we did on the bench. I've just been using a crescent wrench and putting this up inside the case so I'm not like going against the aluminum. Oh boy. Might need 2. Give me a minute. Alright, so you can kind of see what we're doing here. We're trying to overcome that clip, which is actually this clip right here that's in the axle stub. So, to do that and not destroy the case, I got some longer bolts, and then we're just using our spanner wrenches on each side, and we're going to press against there and hopefully be able to pull this off, and that should make that cover loosen up a little bit as well. Because when I'm using those bolts that are like right there to try to press this aluminum cover off, if we're fighting the C-clip on this axle, I don't want to crack this case. So we're going to do this first and see what happens. Coming out. This is the stubby one, like the one we just talked about where I showed you the clip. Sweet. You're f***ing kidding me. Alright, so for my own sanity, I'm going to stop this one right here. So I can get the diff out. It is out. It's disconnected. It won't clear the rear subframe, so I'm going to have to figure out how to weasel it out of there. So again, for my own sanity, I'm going to cut this off. We're going to do another video. We're going to do part 2. That's when we'll show you the electronics testing to get everything to activate the way it's supposed to, and we will have the welded diff installed. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully very soon we will get this thing out on the track at Drift School and we'll get to bring you along. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Drop me a comment down below and we'll see you next time.